We finish off on an episode of REAX where we look at around the internet and see how the internet has been reacting to the game yesterday. We're starting off with Lily White Lab, who says, pure mentality issue this loss, nothing on Ange, although he needs to lay into the players after this one. Have to have the desire to defend your box. Porro, the only one of the back four who can hold his head up high. Bentancur jogging over to block Rutter's cross was particularly embarrassing. So there are things I agree with this. I mean, that's what I said after the game, that Porro is the only one of the back four can hold his head high. I don't think he can hold his head high, but I just think he comes into it with least damage over the other three of the back four. Yeah,
I don't remember him having, as much as Matoma gave him a tough ride, he didn't have too many embarrassing moments like a Doggy Van de Ven and Romero did.
Yeah. And Bentancur jogging, obviously that was very embarrassing.
How he just,
but to say that there's nothing on Ange after this game, I think I don't think that's true. I think when you give the game away like that, there has to be something in there about the manager. Like, he's the one that trying to motivate the players. He's the one that didn't make the changes up until gone in the 70th minute. So as much as I agree that it's mostly on the players, Ange does have to come under criticism.
Of course, I don't think he can be absolved of criticism just because it wasn't totally his fault.
Yeah,
he has to take some blame.
Next up is Johnny H saying, this to me is seriously worrying reply from Ange to the question, were you tempted to make your subs earlier as the game was turning away from Spurs? I can't quite believe what I'm reading here. Can you? At least we know why he just stood there and let us capitulate. And the comment was, yeah, I could have, but all these things are totally irrelevant to me. Substitutions and all those kind of things. If you're not competitive, it doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to get rewards. You don't deserve to win. We didn't deserve our second half performance, irrespective of subs or anything else, to get something out of the game. But I think if you do get something out of the game, you're falsely rewarded, and I don't want to get falsely rewarded.
I'm trying to understand what he's saying. I think he's trying to say, like, you can't just put down the fact that we didn't get anything out of this game because we didn't make subs, because the players have to take some personal responsibility for how they're performing out there. And yes, you know, I might make a late change. Let's say I bring on Will Lancashire in the 90th minute or something, I bring on Will Lancashire and he gets a last minute equaliser and we end up scraping a result. That might happen, but it doesn't mean we deserve to get anything out of the game. So I think that's what he's trying to say. But, like, in my opinion, as when you're a manager and you're watching things unfold on the sidelines, your job is to try and use your substitutions, or use what you're seeing on the pitch to try and change the game. Get involved in it. Don't just allow things to happen. Try and change them yourselves. If you think this guy's not trying or that guy's not, haul them off and bring us up on and get.
The problem was there was too many of them though.
Yeah, maybe, but you've got to try and change it yourself, or even just to disrupt the flow of the game, disrupt the momentum of Brighton, who are clearly getting on top of us. Get some changes on and change it earlier. And I don't like the whole thing if you're not. I understand what he's trying to say, but I think it's a bit bizarre to say I'm not going to make changes because we didn't deserve anything out of the game. But that's like, we'll change it up and see if you can change the momentum of the game. And he didn't want to change it.
Yeah.
Didn't want to get involved.
But apart from bringing Basuma on earlier and bringing on Spence for a doggy, what really could he have done to change that game?
I agree. Actually, at 3-2, there's not much he can have done. But before that, he could have.
At 2-2, what would you have done?
Get someone who's going to put more tackles in, put more duels in, who's not going to just keep putting in those weak challenges, actually going to win 50-50s, because at that time we weren't.
So Basuma and Spence, basically.
I would have brought Sarr on, I would maybe Bergvall on, maybe maybe change that whole midfield. I would have brought Spence on earlier because Udogie was clearly struggling. Maybe even Dragoshin, because our defender, maybe someone just win some duels in the centre back. Just get people on, because at the moment the guys out there weren't winning their duels, and if the people on the bench are going to do that, then if you can see that's happening, get involved in the game and make changes.
Jake Yedlin says, you haven't been a Spurs fan for long if you didn't think they'd leave us to dwell on a horrible performance before an international break, no matter how good our recent form has been. And I saw a lot of tweets about this last night saying, we just always lose before an international break. Every single time.
I can't remember the last time we won.
Last time was Newcastle.
Yeah.
I can't remember back to last season. You've got a better memory than me, but it just seemed to be like we just lose every single game before an international break.
just makes us mull over this for 2 weeks. Absolutely right, Ed Yedlin.
M says, imagine calling the cameraman to zoom in on you and then dropping that second half performance. The bloke bleeds Spurs.
Madison is Spurs. 100%. Very so Spursy.
Oh, God. Spurs resident says, feel like shit, just want him back.
Yeah, we could do with Sonny, that's for sure.
You know, I had a lot of people speak to me about Sonny over the past week or two about, oh, look, we look so much better without Sonny. No, we don't look so much better without Sonny. If we would have had Sonny in this game in this run of 5 games or whichever games he missed, we would have looked even better than we were.
Agreed. I don't look as much as obviously I was frustrated with Timo yesterday. I don't think he's the reason we lost though. Not having
no, but if Sonny is in that position, he probably puts in a bang on the money cross for Brennan, and then we go 1-0 up early, and we probably finish the half at 3-0 up.
Maybe I don't know if we're guaranteed to be more than 2-0 up just if Sonny plays in that game.
Well, you know he's going to put that on the money for Brennan.
I know, but I'm just saying I'm not convinced. Like it could have easily just been 2-0 with Son on the pitch as well. It's not like if we're Son, it would have been 4-0 at half time. I don't think it's
he just adds that extra quality, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure he might have got a goal or assist, but doesn't mean he would have got more than that, if you know what I mean.
I just think we're always more likely to get more goals when Sonny's on the pitch than when
Agreed.
Timo's on
I'm
the
just
pitch.
saying I don't think swapping Timo for Son would have necessarily changed the game.
Carly, come on you Spurs, says, heading into the international break after yesterday.
Yeah, kind of. Oh,
That's how I rolled out of bed this morning,
yeah,
ready for this stream.
Just struggling.
No context Tottenham.
People were saying Ange's statements yesterday were reminiscent of Conte. Would you go that far?
I didn't think so, no.
He did go very hard against, he was kind of saying no fundamental. Where's the sense of belongings, as Conte used to say?
It's true, but I felt like Conte as well was like laying into the board and stuff in that press conference, and I don't think Ange would ever do that.
No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, he wasn't going to the ball, but he was definitely going in on the players.
And damn right he should do.
But Conte went in on the players, not trying all that stuff, and where there's no team and all that kind of things. Maybe Ange didn't go that far, but he definitely was going in on the players. So he said it was his worst. What did he say? It was the worst defeat
as
and he
Spurs
said
manager.
that was the first time under his tenureship that he's seen players just drop the fundamentals, and that's kind of like Conte was saying.
Look, I think Conte was just laying into everything and anything about the club. I think Ange has a bit more grace about him than that. To be honest.
I wouldn't say it was as bad, but people are comparing it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's that comparable. Spurs watch. Ange Postecoglou says, worst defeat since I've been here. And it to be honest, it was. Can you think of a worse loss than this?
I mean, Fulham, that was bad.
What, in the cup?
No, we lost 3-0 away to Fulham. That was terrible. Just after beating Villa.
Yeah, but I classify this as worse than that because in that game we weren't at the races for the whole game and we just weren't good enough on the day. In this game, we were clearly good enough because we put them away in the first half. It was a clear lack of motivation and fight in the second half that didn't win us that game. That's the most worrying thing.
I think it was the most frustrating defeat, that's for sure, because of that aspect. I think the other defeats, they were just like sad and depressing. This is just really angry, inducing and frustrating because we had the game in the palm of our hands as own. We just shot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, I know. And, we had a whole 2 hours in the car afterwards. I don't think we said one word to each other on the way back.
Couldn't believe it.
Oh, God. Squawker said Tottenham are the first side in the Premier League history to lose 10 games from leading by 2+ goals. It's the history of the Tottenham.
Only Spurs could have that stat, honestly. Only Spurs.
Who's second?
Maybe Everton? I don't know. I'm just making no idea. Maybe West Ham. I've got a feeling it might be West Ham.
Jack Pickbrook says basically was the defensive frailties inherent is just how the manager wants to play, or was this just terrible application and lack of focus? And it's definitely the latter, in my opinion.
I think on this occasion, for sure. There have been occasions where we have been carved open and we look to open whatever. I just don't think... yes, we were open, but I don't think it was the case because of the way we set up. Like, I think... As we've said, I think there's a tweet we'll look into in a minute, but the positions we're in, we should be able to deal with them. And it was just really terrible individual moments that, meant that they were able to get chances out of situations they should never have been able to get chances from.
Next one. This is just Ange on the sidelines yesterday.
Yeah, he just looks shell-shocked, didn't he?
Absolutely
He's fuming.
fuming.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
He just looks so angry.
Up to Joe. This is the 10th time that Tottenham have lost a Premier League game with 2+ goals. The first club to hit that. Oh, we've been through that. But Hotspur Central saying, these are the moments just before each of the Brighton goals. We're not overly exposed, not set up poorly, and on the face of it, should be in control of each one of these situations, defensively switched off and weak in these moments. That should have been relatively basic to deal with. And this is what I was saying in the match review. Like, it wasn't anything to do with Ange's tactics or Ange's settled defence or rest defence, whatever you want to call it. This was basically down to sheer incompetence and sheer individual errors.
Go into the pictures. So you look, the first one. Can you go into them? Oh no, it's you. You have to go into them. Look, the first. Can you zoom in?
No, you can't. Well.
You can. Look, so here, there's 2 defenders around the ball. Like without a Brighton player like looking, he's going to score there. Like that should be easily dealt with. Like that's not because of Ange that goes in. You know, that's just a terrible clearance from the doggy. The next one. That's a pretty settled position here. Like, yes, Matoma has the ball, but Romero's got Matoma. Van de Ven is he's got Rutter there. The fact that, they were able to just get on the ball and have that quick interchange, that should never have been allowed to happen. That's not too open. That's not a bad defensive structure. This one's the worst one, though. How from that position, not only do you have 3 players around Rutter, you've also got Bentancur in the penalty area, just ready and waiting for Rutter to wriggle past that situation, and just in case. And you've got 2 players on Welbeck on the back post as well. There, that position is also covered. So not only should Rutter not in a million years be able to wriggle out of that situation, but Bentancur should be coming over. I mean, he did come over, but he should be putting out a play. And you've got Welbeck's 2 players on Welbeck. And from that situation, he was able to get to the byline, and Welbeck had a free header. That's just inexcusable. Inexcusable.
Sneha saying, first half fun, second half funeral.
Yeah.
And that's literally how the whole away end felt yesterday.
Honestly.
And that's it. That is all we have for REAX for you today. So... I'd like to thank you all for joining us today for the post-mortem, which was 3-2 to Brighton at the Amex yesterday. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.